Sagittarius, the world is about to witness your sacred transformation. Sagittarius, the winds of change are circling around you, not quietly this time, but with a force that can no longer be denied. For so long, your growth has been hidden, unfolding in silence where no one else could see. You were learning, shedding, healing, and rising behind the curtains of your own soul. There were nights when you thought no one noticed, when you wondered if your journey mattered, if all the pain and all the resilience were only your private story. But the universe whispers now. The world is about to witness what has been forming within you all along. Transformation is never loud at the beginning. It starts with tiny cracks in the shell, with the quiet courage to let go of who you once were. For Sagittarius, this transformation is sacred. It is not about proving yourself, not about demanding recognition, but about embodying a new wholeness that cannot be hidden. What was once fragmented within you is weaving itself together. What once felt like loss is being reborn as wisdom. And as you step into this new chapter, others will see it too. Your light, once dimmed by trials, will shine with a brilliance that is impossible to ignore. Stay with me, Sagittarius. If you feel this truth resonating in your heart, if you sense that your sacred transformation has already begun, then I invite you to like, share, and subscribe, not out of habit, but as a gentle affirmation of your own rebirth. Gate 1: The hidden work behind the transformation. Sagittarius, when the world looks at someone's transformation, it often mistakes the visible moment for the whole story. People see the butterfly's wings and marvel at their beauty, but they forget that before the wings came the cocoon, a long, dark, lonely chamber where the old self dissolved completely. In the same way, your transformation may soon appear sudden to others. They will point to you and say, "How quickly they have changed, how quickly they have risen." Yet you and I both know the truth. This transformation has been unfolding quietly for years, hidden in the sacred chambers of your life where no one else was watching. Your sacred work has not been loud, Sagittarius. It has been patient, painful, and profoundly private. Think back to the nights when you sat with tears on your pillow, wondering why life seemed to strip so much away from you. Think of the moments when dreams collapsed, when betrayals left scars, when the world felt silent to your prayers. Those were not wasted seasons. They were the forge. They were the very fires that broke you open, reshaped you, and prepared you for the unveiling that is now on the horizon. Jupiter, your ruling planet, governs expansion and wisdom, but it does not hand you its gifts in a single moment. Jupiter works slowly, stretching you beyond what you thought possible, demanding growth in the very places you once resisted it. That stretching is why you felt so uncomfortable in recent years. It was not because you were broken, it was because you were growing. A seed must split open in the soil before it becomes a tree. That breaking apart was necessary, Sagittarius. It was the beginning of something far greater than what you left behind. I once knew a Sagittarius woman named Naomi who for years carried a deep longing to become an artist. Yet every attempt she made to put her work into the world was met with rejection. Galleries dismissed her, critics ignored her, and eventually she stopped trying. On the surface, it looked like her dream had died. But in the hidden corners of her life, she never stopped creating. She painted quietly in her studio late at night, not for applause but for her soul. Those years, though invisible to others, became her most important season. She refined her voice, discovered her style, and poured her pain into the canvas. And then one day, seemingly overnight, her art caught the attention of someone who believed in her. Suddenly, the world celebrated Naomi's sudden rise. But what they saw was only the bloom. What they didn't see were the years of hidden roots that made her art powerful enough to move hearts. Sagittarius, your life has mirrored this pattern. You have been working quietly, healing deeply, and reshaping your inner world in ways others may never fully understand. To them, it may look like you have been stuck or silent. But your silence has been sacred. Your hidden work has been like the roots of a great tree, digging deeper, anchoring you so firmly that when your season of growth arrived, you would stand tall and unshaken. This hidden preparation is essential because transformation without foundation cannot last. Many rise quickly only to collapse because they never did the inner work. You, Sagittarius, were never meant for shallow success. You were meant for sacred transformation, the kind that leaves a mark on the world, the kind that cannot be undone. That is why your path has taken longer. That is why you were asked to endure so much in silence. The universe was ensuring that when the world finally witnessed your transformation, it would not be a fleeting fire but a steady flame that could light the way for others. Think, too, of the betrayals, the heartbreaks, and the disappointments you have endured. At the time they felt like punishments, like cruel endings. But look deeper. Each one stripped you of illusions you could not carry into this next chapter. Each one forced you to release identities that were too small for the person you were becoming. Each heartbreak emptied your hands so that you could finally receive something greater. Without those endings, you would not be ready for the unveiling that is coming now. Another Sagittarius I once guided, Elias, spent years in a job that drained him. He longed to pursue his true calling, but every attempt seemed blocked. He felt invisible, undervalued, and trapped. Yet instead of giving up, Elias chose to treat those years as his training ground. He learned patience, leadership, and endurance. He read voraciously, expanded his skills, and deepened his spiritual practice. To his colleagues, it looked like he was merely surviving. In truth, he was preparing. When a new opportunity arose, one that aligned with his soul's purpose, he stepped into it with such wisdom and maturity that it stunned those around him. "Where did this version of you come from?" they asked. Elias smiled, knowing that the version they now saw had been quietly forming in silence all along. "Sagittarius, this is exactly what is happening with you. The world sees only the surface, but transformation has been taking place in the depths. It is like watching a volcano from afar, silent for years, seemingly dormant. Yet beneath the surface, molten fire has been gathering, pressure has been building, and change has been inevitable. When the eruption comes, it will look sudden, but it will be the result of everything that has been happening in silence. And so, as you stand on the threshold of your sacred transformation, honor the hidden work you have already done. Do not dismiss the quiet seasons, the unseen battles, or the lonely nights. They were not wasted. They were the chrysalis that prepared your wings, the soil that nurtured your roots, the silence that gave birth to your voice. Soon, the world will marvel at your transformation. But you will know that the real miracle was not in the unveiling. It was in the years of hidden work that made it possible. Your sacred transformation is not about becoming someone new. It is about revealing who you have always been beneath the scars, beneath the doubts, beneath the weight of other people's expectations. And when you emerge, Sagittarius, it will not only change your life, it will inspire others to begin their own sacred transformations too. Gate 2: Shedding the old self to step into the new. Sagittarius, transformation always demands a letting go. Before the world can see the new light rising within you, you must first release the skins that no longer fit. This is not easy work. The old self clings. Old identities whisper, "Stay with me, you know who you are here." Old patterns tempt you with their familiarity, even when they bring you pain. Yet sacred transformation requires courage, the courage to shed what is safe in order to embrace what is true. You have already begun this process whether you realize it or not. Think of the friendships that quietly dissolved, the habits that no longer feel nourishing, the dreams you once thought were yours but now feel foreign. Each release was not a loss, Sagittarius. It was a clearing. Like a forest fire that seems destructive at first but makes way for new growth, your soul has been clearing away what cannot go with you into your next chapter. I once spoke with a Sagittarius named Leora, who spent years trying to live up to the expectations of her family. She became what they wanted her to be. A stable professional, polite, reliable, and predictable. Yet inside she felt trapped. Her true self, adventurous, creative, fiery, was suffocating beneath layers of duty. Life eventually forced her hand when circumstances stripped her of the job that defined her identity. First she felt broken. But in that breaking she realized she was free. She shed the version of herself that lived for others and stepped into the version that lived for her own truth. Today she travels the world creating art, inspiring others, not because life gave her transformation, but because she chose to shed the old self bravely. Sagittarius, you are walking a similar path. The betrayals, the endings, the disappointments, they were not punishments. They were chisels. Each one carved away a layer of what was not truly you. The world may have looked at those moments and thought you were losing, but in truth you were shedding. You were stripping away the false identities that kept you small. And now, as the final layers fall, the world is about to see the radiant soul that has been waiting underneath all along. Your ruling planet, Jupiter, does not just expand possibilities, It expands truth. Jupiter will not allow you to stay in a life that is too small, too false, too limited. When you resist growth, life becomes uncomfortable. That discomfort you felt in recent years? That was Jupiter insisting that you could not carry old baggage into your new life. To step into your sacred transformation, you had to let go of the masks. And though it hurt, Sagittarius, you did it. There is beauty in this shedding, but also grief. Sometimes you will mourn the old version of yourself even if it was never authentic. You may miss the familiarity, the predictability, even the illusion of safety. That is normal. But transformation is not about comfort. It is about truth. And the truth is, the old self was never truly you. It was a shadow you wore for survival. The world is not meant to meet the shadow. It is meant to meet your light. Another Sagittarius, Jordan, once shared how he carried an old identity of being the strong one in his family. He was the one who fixed everything, who carried burdens, who sacrificed his dreams to hold everyone else together. For years, it gave him a sense of worth. But over time, it became a cage. When he finally allowed himself to shed that role, to say no and claim his own path, the world saw a different version of him. Some resisted it, clinging to the old role he once played. But others marveled at his courage, at the new energy radiating from him. Jordan said, "I thought shedding the old me would make me smaller. Instead, it made me limitless." Sagittarius, this is your moment. The shedding has already begun, and though it may not feel glamorous, it is the most sacred part of your transformation. The world may see only the bloom when it arrives, but you must honor the pruning that made it possible. You are not abandoning your old self. You are honoring it by letting it evolve. You are carrying forward the wisdom, the resilience, the lessons, but leaving behind the limitations, the illusions, the chains. The sacred transformation you are stepping into is not about becoming someone new. It is about finally becoming yourself, the self that was buried beneath fear, expectations, and compromise. The world is about to witness that self. And when it does, Sagittarius, it will not only see your light, it will feel permission to begin shedding too. Your courage will become a mirror for others to find their own. So do not resist the shedding. Do not cling to what you have outgrown. Trust the process. The old self is falling away because it has completed its purpose. It brought you this far, but it cannot carry you into your sacred future. That path belongs to the new you, the true you, the you that is about to step into the light. Gate 3, the emergence of your true power. Sagittarius, transformation is not only about what you leave behind, it is about what you step into. The old self has fallen away, but what rises in its place is something extraordinary. For too long, your true power has been hidden beneath doubt, fear, and the weight of other people's expectations. Now, as you emerge, that power is no longer something you chase, it is something you embody. The world is about to witness the brilliance you carried all along, the light that could not be dimmed, no matter how many storms you endured. Your fire has always been there. Even in your darkest hours, Sagittarius, your inner flame flickered quietly, refusing to die. Every disappointment fed its fuel. Every heartbreak made it burn hotter. Every obstacle strengthened its glow. Now that fire has become uncontainable. It is ready to rise, not as a spark hidden in the ashes, but as a flame that lights the way forward. Not only for you but for others who have walked in shadows. I once knew a Sagittarius man named Samuel who spent years feeling invisible in his career. He worked tirelessly, yet his contributions were overlooked. For a time, he doubted whether his voice even mattered. But beneath the surface, he was building something no one could take from him: knowledge, resilience, and authenticity. When the moment of emergence finally came, when a leadership opportunity opened unexpectedly, Samuel stepped into it with such authority that people wondered where he had been hiding all those years. The truth? He had not been hiding. He had been preparing. His emergence was not sudden, it was inevitable. Sagittarius, this is the nature of your power. It is not given to you by others. It is not dependent on their recognition or validation. It rises from within, born of every battle you have fought and every lesson you have carried. That is why your transformation is sacred. It does not come from ego but from truth. It does not shout to prove itself. It simply shines, undeniable, steady, and luminous. Your ruling planet, Jupiter, magnifies everything it touches. And right now, it is magnifying your inner power, urging you to stop underestimating yourself. For too long, you have measured your worth against external results: how much success you had, how much love you received, how many doors opened for you. But Jupiter whispers a higher truth. Your worth was never tied to outcomes. It was always in your essence. The power you now embody comes from knowing that nothing outside you can diminish the truth of who you are. This emergence will not go unnoticed. The world is hungry for authenticity, for leaders who lead from the soul, for voices that speak with both fire and compassion. That is what your transformation will offer. People will feel your energy before you even speak. They will sense that you have walked through fire and emerged whole. And in your presence, they will feel the courage to embrace their own truth. Your power is not dominance. It is inspiration. It awakens others simply by existing. Another Sagittarius woman, Marisol, once told me that for years she felt trapped in silence, too afraid to use her voice. She wrote poetry but kept it hidden in journals, convinced no one would care. After a period of deep healing, she finally began to share her words publicly. To her shock, people wept when they heard her. They told her that her voice gave them permission to feel, to hope, to heal. Marisol's emergence was not about becoming something new. It was about allowing her true power to be seen. That is what you are stepping into now, Sagittarius. The world is about to witness your sacred transformation, not because you are forcing it, but because it can no longer be hidden. Your power has matured. Your light has grown. Your presence has become undeniable. And when you rise, Sagittarius, you will not rise quietly. You will rise in such a way that others cannot help but take notice. But hear me clearly. Your emergence is not about proving anyone wrong. It is not about revenge or validation. It is about alignment. You are stepping into the power you were always meant to carry, and the world simply gets to witness the unveiling. Your sacred transformation is for you first, for your freedom, your joy, your wholeness. But in embodying it, you naturally become a light for others. So trust your emergence. Do not downplay your growth to make others comfortable. Do not dim your light for those who fear its brightness. The world is ready. You are ready. And your sacred transformation will not only change your life, it will leave ripples that reach farther than you could ever imagine. Gate 4: Living the transformation out loud. Sagittarius, sacred transformation is not complete when it happens within you. It is complete when you begin to live it out loud. For years, much of your growth has been internal. You processed pain in silence, built resilience in solitude, and carried wisdom that few understood. But now the call is shifting. You are being asked to embody your transformation openly, unapologetically, and in a way that allows the world to feel it. Living your transformation out loud does not mean shouting it from rooftops or proving yourself to those who doubted you. It means aligning your daily life with the truth you have discovered. It means speaking the words you once swallowed. It means pursuing the dreams you once hid. It means choosing relationships that honor your spirit and releasing those that don't. It means living in such a way that your presence alone tells the story. I have changed. I am free. I am whole. Consider the story of Amelia, a Sagittarius who once lived in the shadows of others' expectations. For years, she made herself small so others could feel big. She silenced her ideas in meetings, dimmed her joy in relationships, and convinced herself it was safer to blend in. But after her own season of inner work, Amelia chose to live differently. She began voicing her ideas, embracing her laughter, pursuing her passions without apology. She didn't announce her transformation with words. She embodied it. People around her noticed. Opportunities that once passed her by began finding her. Relationships that were draining naturally dissolved, making space for deeper, more authentic ones. Amelia's sacred transformation became visible, not because she demanded recognition, but because her life itself became the testimony. Sagittarius, this is the power of living your transformation out loud. You are not here to whisper your truth. You are here to live it boldly, as only a fire sign can. When you do, you don't just inspire those around you. You shift the energy of every room you walk into. You remind others that it is possible to rise from ashes, to shed old skins, to become new. And you remind yourself daily that you are no longer who you once were. This requires courage. There will be people who resist your transformation, who preferred the old version of you because it was easier to control, safer for them, less threatening. Some will try to pull you back into familiar roles, to make you doubt your growth. But remember, your transformation is not for their comfort. It is for your freedom. The only person who needs to validate your growth is you. Your ruling planet, Jupiter, expands everything it touches, and now it expands your visibility. This is the season where your transformation is not only internal but external. You may find yourself stepping into leadership, expressing your creativity publicly, or taking risks you once avoided. Each act of living your truth is a declaration. I trust the person I have become. And with each step, the world sees more of the sacred fire that has always burned within you. Another Sagittarius man, Isaac, once told me that he used to fear failure so deeply that he avoided chasing his dreams altogether. His inner transformation began quietly. He started journaling, healing old wounds, reclaiming his self-worth. But the turning point came when he chose to act on his new truth. He launched a project he had dreamed of for years, sharing it publicly despite his fears. That choice was the outward expression of his sacred transformation. And to his surprise, the very world he once feared embraced his authenticity. Isaac said, "I didn't just change inside, I finally lived it outside." Sagittarius, your moment is here. The world is ready to see the sacred transformation that has been unfolding within you all this time. Do not hide it. Do not dilute it. Do not apologize for it. Let your life be the canvas on which your transformation paints its masterpiece. When you walk into a room, walk as though you are carrying the light of every battle you survived. When you speak, speak with the authority of someone who has healed and risen. When you love, love with the depth of someone who has learned what truly matters. This is what it means to live your transformation out loud. And as you do, Sagittarius, remember, this unveiling is not the end of your journey. Transformation is not a single event. It is a lifelong unfolding. But this moment is sacred. The world will see you, perhaps for the first time, in the fullness of who you truly are. And when they do, it will not just change how they see you, it will change how you see yourself. The sacred unveiling. Sagittarius, the path you have walked has not been easy. It has been marked by endings you did not choose, betrayals you did not deserve, and lessons you never expected to face. And yet, every twist, every silence, every heartbreak has carried you here, to the threshold of your sacred transformation. What once felt like breaking was actually becoming. What once felt like loss was preparing the soil for new growth. Now the world is about to witness what has been unfolding inside of you all along. This unveiling is not about proving anyone wrong. It is not about revenge, recognition, or applause. It is about truth. Your transformation is sacred because it reveals the self you were always meant to be. The self that is whole, wise, unafraid, and radiant. You no longer need to hide behind old roles or shrink beneath old fears. The fire of Sagittarius has been rekindled, and it burns too brightly now to remain unseen. As you step forward, remember, the world may marvel at how suddenly you seem to shine, but you will know it was never sudden. It was years of hidden work, of sacred shedding, of choosing to rise when it would have been easier to fall. Let them witness your transformation, Sagittarius. Let them feel your light. Let them be inspired by your courage. And if these words echo in your heart, if you feel the truth of your own sacred unveiling, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe. Not just to honor this space, but to affirm your journey. Because your transformation is no longer waiting in silence. It is here, it is real, and it is ready to be seen.